Well, have you ever been called rude? Typically, that's said to somebody as an insult. But what if it's not? Our next guest tells us that we need to lean into our rudeness. And by being the right kind of rude, you can stop holding yourself back and actually get ahead. I am excited to talk this morning to Rebecca Reid. She is the author of the book Rude. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to learn more. First of all, let's start with the definition. Now, you're not talking about being a jerk, you're talking about positive rudeness. What does that mean?
So, positive rudeness is very often what would be called being assertive, but particularly when women exhibit it, it's described as being rude. And it's mostly about trying to free yourself of the worry of being perceived as rude and instead doing the things that you need to do to make your life better.
Yeah, I love this idea of taking a look at our language, how we speak, how we type, and looking for areas of passivity. And your book does a brilliant job. You break it down into 7 sections of where we can be more rude, including your family, your friends, your sex life, health, money, and work. And you use a really well-known woman as an example for each of those. Let's talk about work in particular and Taylor Swift.
I mean, Taylor Swift is an inspiration in terms of positive rudeness because she's a fundamentally really nice person. Like, she loves her cats, she bakes cookies, but in the same token, she's taken on corporations, particularly Apple Music, and she's not afraid to be outspoken and to pursue either legal or public channels in order to make sure that she's getting the correct treatment as an artist and as a person.
Absolutely. You know, when I was reading through your book, what it reminded me of was listening to Vice President elect Kamala Harris during the debate when she looked at Mike Pence and she said, I'm speaking, and just let it sit.
And that was an amazing moment because I wrote the book before that happened. But the reason I wrote the book is because there was a man who wouldn't let me speak. And admittedly, I did not handle it as calmly or as elegantly as Senator Harris did. But it was a really great moment for me seeing that the I'm talking is becoming a conversation that we're having all over the world. And I think a lot of women have been in that exact position.
Okay, I want to get into some more examples of being the right kind of rude at work. You say it can be anything from somebody, for example, saying your name incorrectly. How do we handle that with polite rudeness? Because as Canadians, I will tell you, we will be tempted to let it slide, especially if it's a superior.
The British are very similar. We hate conflict. It pains us. But I think you have to remember that if somebody pronounces your name incorrectly or gives you a nickname that you don't like, so my name's not Becky, but sometimes people try and call me Becky, they will not spend the rest of the week worrying that you said, oh, actually, it's Rebecca. You might spend the whole day building up to it, but to them, it's not going to be a big deal. And it's preventing a situation where you spend the next however many years in your workplace resenting the fact that you didn't say something in that first moment.
I love that. That is absolutely true. And I have one of those last names that people mispronounce all the time. I love this next point, and this is poignant, especially not only for women, but Canadians as well. We tend to say sorry a lot and use it as a catch all phrase for everything, even when we've done something to not be sorry about. What is your advice in that situation?
And I'm the same. Sometimes somebody will bump into me on the street and I will apologize for being bumped into. But I think a lot of the time when we say sorry, what we mean is thank you. So it's not sorry for being late if you're 30 seconds late. It's thank you so much for waiting. And it's not sorry for needing your support. It's thank you so much for being supportive. And it's a much more positive way to frame what you're really trying to say, which is, I appreciate the thing that you have done for me.
And why is that an important difference?
I think it's important because when you say sorry, you've undermined yourself. You said, I'm wrong or I've made a mistake. Whereas a lot of the time you haven't made a mistake, or if you have, it's a very small one. And I think it's important that you're not, particularly in a work context, advertising the idea that you're getting things wrong all the time when actually you're getting things right.
I really love your next tip, and this deals with email. I love words. I love the meaning of words. I weigh them out very carefully. And you advise getting rid of words like just and quick and I think. Why?
So whenever I send an email, I will open it with, I'm so sorry it's taken me ages to reply, even when it hasn't. I was just wondering if there's any chance that you could take a quick look So I've used all these qualifying statements which aren't necessary and which make me sound like I lack confidence and like I lack conviction in what I'm doing. You can download an email plugin that will underline these words for you, which means that every time you send an email, it's just a little reminder that you don't have to apologize for asking for reasonable things.
Why do we do this? Women in particular, why do we apologize?
I think we want to seem nice. It's particularly women put a lot of exclamation points in as well. The sort of, hey, how are you doing? I never use exclamation points in my normal life, but in work, somehow I think I'm going to seem like a horrible monster if I don't use exclamation points in every line. And it's because I want to be liked. I want to seem kind. I want to seem nice. But in reality, particularly at work, there are other more important things than being sweet. Being competent, being efficient. Those are the qualities you want to advertise, not just the fact that you're a sweetheart.
I love when people like you call attention to things like these because now we can't ignore them. Rebecca Reid, a pleasure to talk to you this morning. This book will be a great read over the holidays. It's called Rude, Stop Being Nice and Start Being Bold. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.